Show. The news.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Brock Lully program. My name is Brock Lully. I am your fearless host. This is a show we tackle the news headlines, sifting out the alphabet soup, Democrat Party, fake news, lies, the chaff that is from the golden wheat of truth. I serve that truth up to your ADD reality television show minds on a silver platter of rhetorical deliciousness. That is a show in a nutshell. Let's jump into the stories. Ladies and gentlemen, you are living, in my humble opinion, in a civil war, a non-bloody civil war right now. And there's so many caveats to that statement, but the one I want to point your attention to is, in my opinion, what's happening right now is the elections of the United States, the temperament of the American people, the desire of the American people has absolutely no voice whatsoever. And the reason for that is bureaucracy and just corruption and establishment power burrowed so deeply in that soil. I mean, the roots of this are proving to be so deep that de facto governments essentially are running, in my opinion, the United States of America and filling the sails with the wind that they wish. And here's what I mean by that. I think it's abundantly clear that what you have is in the judicial branch, in the intelligence branch. What I mean by that is the CIA, the FBI. What you have here is just rogue, unelected bureaucrats, predominantly leftists. The Washington, D.C. is just rank with leftism. Why? What party continues to fund it? What party continues to keep the budgets flush and flowing with milk and honey, I ask you? What party would you support if you were a bureaucrat and wanted a bright future and a huge pension and a gold-plated parachute insurance policy and so on and so forth? If you were part of Pan Am, ladies and gentlemen, what party do you support? Moreover, forget parties. Do you even think about supporting or respecting a commander-in-chief who is known and openly campaigned on bringing a wrecking ball to your little fortress of corruption, lies, duplicity, lawlessness? Of course not. So what you have is, when you hear terms like deep state, when you hear terms like a saboteur from the State Department, for example, is leaking like a sieve. That's all illegal. A lot of people don't even know that. It's just flippantly talked about. It's all illegal. You can't do these things. You can't use surveillance to surveil. You can't use state domestic surveillance to surveil political opponents. You can't do that. That's illegal. People just you hear these Democrat talking hits on television. Oh, whatever. I mean, we need to get to the bottom of this. This is hyperbolic Russian nonsense that we're keeping front and center as to delegitimize this president. No, actually, the real story, is the fact that you have a sitting president asking for intelligence from these intelligence agencies and not getting it. Not getting it. Why? Well, you hear them banty back. Well, I mean, this guy isn't worthy of it. I mean, we have an open investigation that we've created out of whole cloth between him and Russia, so why should we give him intelligence? This is not how it works. It's the commander-in-chief put there by the American people. The whole system is breaking down, and I've been telling you this forever. Lawless leftists, they don't care about law. They don't care about any of this. They think it is their birthright. They don't give a rat's behind who you vote for. They don't give a rat's behind the ideology that you, the American people, in a democracy and in a republic, are trying to push forward. That is not a slight concern to them. They are buried there. Generations of leftism buried in the soil. And it's all just poison. And of course, let's just think this out here. Okay, so say, which is exactly what I think he should do, but let's just say Donald Trump decides to take this head on. And let's say he decides to just go straight scorched earth and go after the rats. He decides to bring in every, exterminator in the city. He goes to Washington, D.C., and he goes rat hunting in the deep state. What are you going to hear? What are you going to hear from the opposition Democrat complex press? What are you going to hear from the Democrat Party? What are you going to hear from every megaphone that is essentially leftism? You're going to hear, Brock, Trump is a fascist. Look at Trump. Look at Trump just going after everybody that disagrees with him. That would be the story, right? That's how they would spin it. There's absolutely no doubt in my mind The vast majority. I mean, goodness gracious, they have the left out there actually believing the Russian nonsense, just believing it, and thinking that this is noteworthy of impeachment. I mean, you hear these people; they're just completely untethered from reality, unsubstantiated claptrap from the left, designed to distract from the fact that they lost a bloody election miserably. The failure of their ideas, the rejection of their ideas, and of course, the body politic. This shouldn't surprise someone as the body politic surprisingly rejects policies that have made them poorer, made them less safe, duct tape their mouth with political correct nonsense. You know, Bruce is squatting for a deuce while ISIS is cutting off heads. Of course, Obamacare sends premiums 100 times higher. Well, we have insurance. 200 million people are insured. Let me ask you a question. First of all, that stat is a complete hogwash, pigpen, corn cob nonsense. But let me ask you a question. What does it mean to be insured if your deductibles are $5,000 to use a doctor? At some point, what are we talking about here? Moreover, when you hear these terms, just remember this. They're not in any way quantifying how many people lost insurance. Barack Obama, you can give you a insurance, period. You can give you a doctor, period. All that proved to be a lie. Millions and millions and millions of people lost their insurance. Is any of that quantified at all these people that quote unquote got insurance? No, what they wanted to do was redistribute wealth from the state, which is, of course, that's the only thing the Democrat Party is interested in. Under the guise of healthcare, people are sicker, people are poor, healthcare is a mess. Everybody knows it. Everybody knows it. And as a side note here, as this broadcast comes to you, the ridiculous Republican Party, the incompetent, ridiculous Republican Party, a shining example of why I left it in my rear view a long time ago. So after winning election after election after election, because the American people were crushed under the weight of Obamacare, the Republicans cannot get together and repeal Obamacare. Absolutely horrific. They deserve all of the shame they should feel. They deserve all of the disrespect that they receive. Not because of the left spin. It'll be like, oh, the Americans love Obamacare. No. It's because the Republican Party is so crippled in their cowardice. It has brought bile to my throat for years. So afraid to do the right thing. Just have no courage, the courage of their convictions. And this is where it lands them. This is where their milquetoast nonsense lands them. Milquetoast, halfway garbage, doesn't inspire anybody. It doesn't make anybody feel confident. And, if you want to find a bright sign, if you want to look at a silver lining here, this is actually, I suppose, how legislation is supposed to work. It's not supposed to go right down party lines, and everybody's not supposed to just walk like a bunch of zombies. That's how Democrats do things. That's how they passed Obamacare. No, this time you have a handful, 20 plus, 30 Republicans that actually have, convictions, and we're willing to take it all the way. Which, by the way, is actually what politics should be. But we've so left that this seems shocking. Nonetheless, this is on Ryan, this is on McConnell, this is on the establishment hacks, who I think should have been gone. They should not be running this party. They should not be making these decisions. The American people give you the House. The American people give you the Senate. The American people give you the White House. The American people give you 31 governors. The American people give you state legislators. They give you everything you can ask for, and still your reptilian cowardice can't have you prepared to repeal the most horrendous bill that the American people have seen in my lifetime. Breathtaking incompetence. Breathtaking cowardice. The problem with the Republican Party is that they have no courage because they're afraid of the media. That is pretty much a bullet point statement, a silver bullet statement as you can get. Ladies and gentlemen, let me break it down for you in lowest common denominator, small bites, okay? Think of it this way. Think of Christmas presents, okay? Obamacare was your crazy nutjob lunatic taking sedatives aunt who's making you like scarves that aren't even like properly made with inappropriate sayings on them or whatever. and you just have to take it, right? Shoved on you, both peer pressure and powerful family consequences, so on and so forth, right? Donald Trump is saying, why don't we give you a gift card to a store of your choice? It's simple. Healthcare should be choice. Healthcare should be consumed in the market. It's not that complicated. I just want you to... Donald Trump is saying, let's have healthcare be a gift card that you can use. Think about Christmas Day. Don't you love it when somebody gives you a gift card? Especially one of those gift cards that are like Visa gift cards you could use anywhere. Of course. Or do you want your nut job crazy lazy eye aunt giving you one of those weird inappropriate sweaters that say hugs not drugs? You ask yourself, Obamacare is that sweater, is that crazy aunt. Period. That's right. You keep your sweater if you want a period. Not to worry, though, because the Democrat Party, although untethered from reality, although dangerous, never in your life have they disregarded, anything with more enthusiasm, the fiscal sanity, common sense, basic human reality. This is the Democrat Party of 2017. I mean, they are up in arms. They are passionate about delusion. Delusion = Democrats. But we shall resist. We shall resist prosperity. We shall resist jobs. We shall resist healthcare without premiums through the roof and deductible. I don't know whether they're talking like Arabs, a bad Arab. There's so many degrees of bad impersonations going on here. I'm gonna pull the ripcord while I'm still in the air. And by the way, while we're rabbit trailing, listen, irony. You know how you Google like the definition of a word, and back in the day we had these dusty dictionaries. There'd be a word be like, this is the word I want you to imagine in your mind, but I want you to imagine this, right? The whole format they have. The word irony. It's like I.RO.NY. And then they got that pronunciation definition under words. It looks like another language, right? And then it's like noun. Well, listen, imagine that in your mind, except for I want to replace the definition, right? The definition of irony at this point in time, I can't even stand this as I peruse the talking head, the claptrap, opposition media. Democrat media complex, the Democrats, a.k.a. the media, it's all 6 and 1, half a dozen the other, complaining about fake news. Ladies and gentlemen, the fake news complaining about fake news, I can't even take it. It's suffocating me with the irony of it. It's profound. This is saying nothing of the Democrat conspiracy theory, Democrat Party with the Russia and the tinfoil and the hyperbolic nonsense, the unsubstantiated nonsense. These guys are the ones now complaining that Nunes and all these guys that are claiming that Trump was surveilled. Which, by the way, why are we debating that? That's been reported everywhere. New York Times had it on the headline of the front page. This isn't debatable. Anyway, they're like, there's no evidence. How dare Trump make such outlandish accusations without having the goods? And this is the party that since the election has been spouting off Russian nonsense with zero evidence. No elections were affected by this. Zero evidence of any of their claims. And yet they're like, how dare you make an unsubstantiated claim, President Trump? This is so irresponsible. It's just profound. I'm almost done with my rabbit trail. Listen, this is how we should look at this, okay? All this stuff, all of the white noise, insane throw nails on the highway strategy from the Democrat Party, it's all designed so that you forget the last 8 years of miserable failure and the election that was the consequence of that. Ladies and gentlemen, in that 8 years, student loan debt tripled in our nation. Food stamp recipients doubled in our nation. Federal debt through the roof in our nation. Labor force participation, bottom dropped out of it. Home ownership, bottom dropped out of it. Median family income, bottom dropped out of it. Healthcare costs skyrocketed into the stratosphere. Money printing from the federal government almost quadrupled. Workers' share in the economy. In other words, you having the power of sitting down and deciding your own fate by way of a job and an interview. Never been worse, ladies and gentlemen. Never in human history has, you always hear these leftists and these Democrats talking about inequality of income and wealth disparagement and all this stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, never before in history has more money moved from the poor and the middle class to the rich than under Barack Obama's administration. So all of this stuff is designed to distract you from real things, which was what the election was about. It was about rejecting leftism. And you should just tell everybody, you should just be like a gong at a game show. Just continue to remind them. Everything else is distraction. Everything else is nonsense. By the way, guys, I don't know if you saw that Gorsuch 2-day bloodbath of a boxing ring. A ref should have jumped in there. I'm telling you, ref should have jumped in there and called it. The Democrats were just getting pounded on. Ladies and gentlemen, forget about the partisanship, right? Just forget about that for a second. It is amazing to think when you juxtapose who the Democrats nominate for the Supreme Court and who the Republicans nominate. The quality of human being that this guy proved himself to be is undeniable. And then you think about somebody like Kagan next to him. I mean, it's just on its face. One party puts forward a serious nominee to sit on the bench, and the other doesn't. And I'm no fan of the Republicans, as we've well established, but this is undeniable. This guy was profoundly impressive as a human being, and the party of regressive idiocy is going to filibuster him. Which, by the way, on a side note, this is inside baseball political. Why are we even talking about this? Democrats introduced the nuclear option. It was a terrible idea. Harry Reid did it because he wanted to. He wanted to stack the bench, which he did, by the way. He wanted to stack the federal courts, which they did. He wanted to stack the state courts, which he did. Ladies and gentlemen, that cat's out of the bag. They're never putting that back in the Pandora's box. That's the new normal. It's a shame. You don't need the 60 votes or whatever. Now you just need the simple majority. And that's what this, of course, is brought about by Democrats. By the way, all the turds on the carpet that we're now dealing with are brought about by Democrats. And now they're complaining about them. It's amazing. Why are we even talking about this? Of course, the guys that qualified, he just, I don't even know why they're even discussing this. You just use the nuclear option. Harry Reid established it. It's the new normal. You do that again and again and again. You do that again and again and again. Rough shot these guys. It's ridiculous. I'm so tired of the reaction to untethered, ridiculous leftism being eye-rolling. No, it's not eye-rolling. It's pulling the delusional rug out from under their feet and allowing them to fall into the cold water of reality, which is where they should be living, because their delusional nonsense is getting people hurt in the area of terror, getting people laid off in the area of economy, and I'm tired of it. Why do we have to handhold delusional children in adulthood? This is not necessary. This administration should be roughshotting these guys. And by the way, for the love of God, can we get somebody competent running the Republican Party? McConnell, for goodness sake. Anyway, I move on. In a disheartening story, an amazing story in my opinion, millennials. Do you know this in a new study? This is TheWrap.com if you want to check this out. TheWrap, WRAP.com. Millennials consider themselves adults at 30, not until they're 30. By the way, this sounds awfully young, millennials. 30. I mean, it's crazy. We are just in every way as a society regressing. I read this article with like wow, like bewilderment. At 18, I was chomping at the bit. I just can't even believe this. It really is remarkable. Anyway, that's at TheWrap.com. Jason Riley, one of my favorite writers in the Wall Street Journal, is a black writer with a ton of common sense. He's an amazing intellect. He says for the state of students who want to learn and want to thrive in a classroom, do away with Obama's desperate impact rules. Basically what this is Barack Obama decided in his all-knowing knowledge that too many black kids were getting disciplined in the classroom. Yes, a lot of people don't even know this. The amount of tsunami of insanity that took place in the last 8 years, this is just one of the things that fell through the cracks. But it's true nonetheless. Yes, so if you're a classroom teacher and you want to keep classroom management, so the kid that's studying hard can learn what a novel idea in public education. No, all this chaos is going on. You got all this disrespect. You got all this booty grabbing, and God only knows what else is going on in this class. But Barack Obama decided that we should decide who gets dealt with in a punishment realm, or who faces the consequences of their action based on their skin color rather than their action. Ridiculous. One more spoke in the wheel of how Democrats do not care about kids, do not care about education, but instead care about political correctness, power, and all this other fringe nonsense. This should be dealt with immediately for the sake of children. I know. Actually, people banter around about children, but what about the kid in the classroom? Again, did their homework, did their studying, wants to learn, and now he has to deal with chaos going on all around him because classroom management is a thing of the past because you can't discipline a kid if they have the wrong melanin in their skin. Ridiculousness. In other profoundly horrific news, did you know that a 14-year-old girl was raped in a high school in Maryland? You might not know that because your media went straight up blackout on this story. Yes, 2 illegal immigrants raped a 14-year-old girl in a Maryland high school. This story made me sick to my stomach. I was watching. Can you imagine her parents? Is it unreasonable for a citizenry to expect their borders to be secure? The Democrat Party says, yes, that is unreasonable. This stuff is happening all of the time, and your media won't report it because if you're Mexican or black or Arab, that is more important to protect some mythical body politic prejudice that the media apparently thinks we all harbor than to tell the truth. What we have is criminals that should not be in this country committing crimes. Anybody who tries to deflect from that is deflecting from this issue. When they talk about separating parents from children, that's a deflection. When they talk about we're about the Statue of Liberty, that's a deflection. We have criminals in this nation. This poor 14-year-old girl found out the hard way. Can you even imagine her parents? Can you imagine this community? This is preposterous. And the Democrat Party is standing in the way of what I consider to be so profoundly commonsensical. It's breathtaking that we're even divided on this. That actually happened. You should look it up. Shame on the media for purposely ignoring this story. If this is not news, what is? Well, Brock, news is that some guy wants to lop off his genitalia and plap it on the table for a grant from the American Art Association. It's expressive art. You should fund it. The taxpayer should fund it, like NPR. Ladies and gentlemen, this is real. This is real news. The nonsense leftist propaganda that you are bathed in is not. Reject it. Unfortunately, you have to do your own homework. I'm going to send you to the right place on this one. This is a BETHESDAMAGAZINE.com. That's how much I want you to go to this story. Check this out for yourself. And lastly, ladies and gentlemen, if you are not completely and totally convinced that we have lost our minds, in 2017 we were all inmates running around, foaming at the mouth, howling at the moon. Ladies and gentlemen, you know what the latest thing is? Plastic surgery for pets. I'm not kidding. Don't miss the last paragraph of this New York Post article. Plastic surgery for pets. Thank you for listening to the Brock Lawley program. Be a people of fortitude, character, and abounding courage.